Good morning.
Oh,
Hello.
hello. You
Gosh,
there, are you?
It's really hot here, isn't it?
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? I ought to
Chris
take
and
the
I are
jumper off,
having a little
really.
break away.
I put my
Yeah,
jumper
well,
on just to pretend I'm back at home. Welcome to Rev Chat from the Bahamas.
Yeah. We're on a coach training.
I'm just concerned whether I'm just concerned whether your respective partners know you're both together out there.
Oh, they're here as well.
Yeah.
Oh, they're there, are they? That's quickly responding, Chris. And who's looking after the doggies for you both while you're doing this?
Oh, that's our servants.
Ah, good. Yeah, that's.
And it's all been paid for out of the Rural Dean's Fund.
Expenses. Yeah, well, after last week's pathetic attempt at Rev Chat, I thought I need to give you a good rest, really. So good. I'm pleased to see that you're at West Bay as ever, which is good.
Yeah.
But as somebody has to keep the shop going, I'm here, you know.
Also known as David can't find the button that changes his background.
David doesn't have a button that changes his background. That's the problem.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to update all my technology just to have a picture behind me. But I did prefer the one that Deb had of herself as a dog. Not that I'm accusing her of anything or wishing to insult her in any way whatsoever.
Well, maybe at the end of Rev Chat, when we say goodbye, we could metamorphose.
You can go back to and show people the dog. However, there we are. Dear viewer, if you prefer Rev Chat with these backgrounds, please do let us know and we'll work on it. If I can't find the right button, then by next week I'll get my good wife to paint a screen I can put behind me. Or something. We'll paint the wall. I don't think the Diocese will mind. Do you think I painted the wall they'd mind?
Of course.
Nah.
No, good. Well, there we are. So how are you both? Are you both well?
Yeah.
Yes, I think we're doing all right.
Yeah.
Harvest festivals still going on, or have you finished harvest festivals yet, Chris?
Oh, I got 2 more to do.
Yeah, I've got a few
no
more.
harvest service this weekend. I've got a Sunday off. A Sunday where I've got to go back preaching on the actual gospel.
Yeah.
I've got a mixture of what we're going to talk about in a few minutes, plus harvest festivals. I've got 2 harvest festivals and 1 ordinary, I think. Who knows? It's all good
you
stuff.
have hundreds of harvest festivals in Bridport, Deb.
Well, we celebrated Harvest Festival all together in a big parish service at the beginning of October. But all the individual churches have done different things as well, social things, and all the churches are beautifully decorated. We had Neil Robinson, who is the chaplain to the deaf community, come for Harvest, and he was really great. So it was lovely. Yeah. So we did that all together. But lots of harvesty things have been happening around Bridport. But no more harvest services for us.
Good. I think Jo's got at least 1 harvest service on Sunday, I think. She's been doing them unbelievably well for me. Whilst I was lounging on the beach in Turkey, she was busy celebrating dirt and soil and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But there we are. All is good, and we had a special time last Sunday because David Sherlock, one of our partner priests, former dean of Truro Cathedral, retired officially for the 2nd time. 25 years after he retired as Dean of Truro, he retired from working in the Beaminster Team. And it's quite emotional. He spoke beautifully. And we had the church packed, well over 100 people from across the team. Although there were other services going on, people still came. So that was lovely for him and his family.
Mm.
It was very good. And then what else has been on? We had Synod on Saturday, Chris, didn't we? Diocese and Synod.
We did. What an exciting event that was.
It was.
Actually, no, it was a really good occasion to find out what's happening in the diocese and nationally, to get some feedback from that, and to realise that our local churches are part of a bigger picture.
It was. I thought it was one of the better meetings I've been to for a while, synod meetings. And what was good, it was good that for us, Chris, it was local. First time I think you've been to a synod meeting. You're 3 years on synod. It hasn't been either over in Salisbury or up in Wiltshire or over at Corfmullen. So we were at the Griffin School in Sherborne, which was great.
The Griffin School, and one thing I did learn is Griffin School in Sherborne does not have a shop nearby to go and buy some lunch if you forget to take it with you.
Yeah. So it was an occasion for fasting, was it?
No, I was eternally grateful to the generosity of our rural dean for sharing his meal with me.
I did.
Sounds like a parable.
It does, doesn't it? I think you're right.
Sometimes these things just have to be acted out.
That's right. It was very good. I'd got an additional role which my body didn't really need, and so I was very happy to share it with Reverend Grask, and I hope he enjoyed it.
He did.
It was good. I also met a clergyman who's the vicar of Harlem, Julian Popplewell, I think his name is.
Oh, yes,
Julian.
I know him.
He's a lovely guy, and he was telling me as we sat next to each other on the table that his mother was born in Masterton, which is, of course, one of our parishes. And how he spent lots of his childhood in the old mill with his grandparents for his holidays. And his cousin still lives in Masterton. So I was chatting to her yesterday. I popped in the shop to buy some flowers for one of our church wardens who'd been helping me at the school harvest in the church, and had spent a lot of time putting chairs up in there. So I bought her some flowers to go and say thank you. And the cousin works in the shop. His cousin works in the shop. So it was interesting to find somebody.
He's a beautiful singer, Julian.
I'm told so. I'm told so. Yeah. I'm told so.
He sang the Exultet in Salisbury Cathedral one year when I was there. When I was there for Easter school. He's very good.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. Excellent. Well, there we are. So all in all, it's been a busy. It's been a kind of busy-ish week. I've been lots of running around for me and doing. I addressed all the envelopes for the letters for our memorial service. This year we've had an awful lot of funeral interactions with families and things. Normally around 70 a year, funerals, burials of ashes, etc. This year we had 107 when I came to prepare the letters with Anne in the office. And so they've all gone out inviting people, which will be good. Trouble with the rota, I'm afraid. Our rota's causing me more and more heartache. Having got agreement to people doing things, they're then pulled off after I sent it to them. So we've been able to get to say to churches, sorry, you're gonna have to help yourself more. But so all in all, it's been good. It hasn't been a bad week. I don't think. It hasn't been a bad week.
It's been a bad week in the world, though, hasn't it? It's been.
Oh well, Deb, don't.
I know we won't, but it's just affects everything and everybody, and it's.
I think.
But it's still unfolding, and it's.
To me, it just demonstrates the love of Christ is needed around the world more than ever.
I think it's interesting. Yesterday, I received an email from a Jewish member of our community here in Beaminster, who I know through other things. I'm not going to say why I know, because I don't want to be able people to pinpoint him. But he was asking me to continue to preach that whilst you may argue or disagree with the political stance of the Israeli government, the Israelis have a right to their own land and whatever. And then last night I popped into the Indian restaurant here in Beaminster. I wanted to see the one young lad who works there at front of house, because he's one of the rarest of Christians you'll ever find. He's a Bangladeshi Christian. And I was lending him some books of Bible, the daily Bible readings, because he doesn't know where to get them from. and the other guy in there who is obviously a Bangladeshi Muslim, he was absolutely distraught with what was going on from the other angle.
Mm.
And I'm, you know, I'm trying to love him and calm him down before he was about to put the knife through somebody, or the whatever. And then you got both angles, both pleading their cause. And at heart, like in many places, the genuine people who are caught up in it all have no say or anything, do they? You know, it's all of the outside and the pressure from extremists, and it's so sad, as you say. It is so sad. And the dean was telling us last week at the chapter meeting, Deb, for the College of Canons, that he's being granted extended study leave next year by the bishop. He's going to be away. Well, they call it, it's not sabbatical anymore. Apparently it's got some posh name so people don't think you're skiving or something like that. And he was saying the bishop had granted him. He'll be away from January till May. And he's going to Palestine. I'm not quite sure what he's going to Palestine for, but he's going to Palestine. And you think, heavens above, is that the wisest choice at this moment?
Yeah, well, I guess that was all planned before this.
Before, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
that just highlights, David, doesn't it? One of the things that we do as priests. Yeah. We sit as the love and the peace in between people on two sides of a conflict.
We do. We try to, don't we? We do try to in so many ways. Anyway, do you think we ought to have a pause and I'll read the reading?
Yeah.
This is a reading from the 22nd chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel. Once more, Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his slaves to call those who had been invited to the wedding banquet, but they would not come. Again, he sent other slaves, saying, 'Tell those who have been invited, look, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fat calves have been slaughtered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet.' But they made light of it and went away, one to his farm, another to his business, while the rest seized his slaves, maltreated them, and killed them. The king was enraged. He sent his troops, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. Then he said to his slaves, 'The wedding is ready, but those invited were not worthy. Go therefore into the main streets and invite everyone you find to the wedding banquet.' Those slaves went out into the streets and gathered all who they found, both good and bad. So the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man there who was not wearing a wedding robe. And he said to him, 'Friend, how did you get in here without a wedding robe?' And he was speechless. Then the king said to the attendants, 'Bind him hand and foot and throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen.'"
Sounds harsh, doesn't it?
We're in a succession of these parables which are difficult, and this one is even more difficult than last week, I think.
But it's back at the very beginning to where we were last week, where the servants had been sent and were killed, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in effect, it picks up a little bit on what we were saying before we read the reading about, hatred in the world and power of one person to do something which is outrageous at times.
Mm.
Yeah,
Not quite sure.
I've been reminding people for the last few weeks that these readings are started by saying this is a parable.
Yeah.
So it's not this is a physical event that happened or should happen, or this is how a wedding should be.
No.
It's actually, this is an event that we can vaguely understand to try and help us understand something spiritually. So we need to think therefore, what is the spiritual lesson that this reading is trying to teach us?
Yeah, because it's quite a nightmarish picture that is being painted. And I guess, well, I've been thinking about it because I'm going off to a service in a minute, and this is the reading. And it's a lot of what this focuses on is that we're invited, and in all sorts of ways we spurn the invitation. And I mean, it seems really rough at the end with the man who hasn't got the right clothes on, but it's all about understanding the invitation and accepting it wholeheartedly. And I don't know, it's a really very tough reading, but I think that's the theme that goes throughout, that you're being offered everything, and they even beat up the postman who brings the invitation. It's like people are not understanding what is being offered them, or even if they do, they don't want it.
Yeah, I've been looking at what have I preached on in previous years on this parable, and I did talk about the number of people, or how many times I get told you don't need to go to church to be a Christian. You don't need to worship God to be a Christian. And I think, well, actually, I think this parable is telling us that God's inviting us into his kingdom. We need to go and take part in it.
Mm.
And church is a little bit of that. And I know the theory of, if we've got Jesus Christ in our hearts, we don't need to go to church. But I think if we want to be part of God's kingdom, we need to be part of God's kingdom. We don't need it just as a sideshow. So
it's about taking part in the banquet, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a huge thing that's being offered. It's elaborate, and it's been planned, and there are a whole load of people who were on the guest list who don't even bother turning up, and then a whole load of other people, and maybe some of them don't know why they're there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the other one I remember reading somewhere, but this is just a vague memory rather than a bit of actual research, was going over to that guy who didn't have his robes on, was at the wedding banquet. It was traditional that an overrobe was provided to everybody as they arrived.
Mm.
And therefore he would have refused to put it on. So actually it wasn't just that he didn't turn up in the right clothes.
Yeah.
It was that he refused to accept the robe that was provided.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, during my process, I have a process, and always have, I guess it's the way I was taught by my training incumbent about preparing sermons. So it starts actually on Sunday night, and I'll get in from the last services. I shall read the gospel reading for the first time and leave it to cogitate. But I found myself comparing this story and the version of the story in Luke's gospel.
Mm.
And there's a great difference in the tone of the two readings, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's only in Matthew where you tend to get this vengefulness coming through, and anger all the time. And I think the real key for me to this is the understanding of the value of the invitation, as you've been saying, Debs.
Mm.
That's the key. It's how do we if we receive the invitation, as I think you were saying a few minutes ago, how do we understand actually what it means and how important it is to the person who sent us, sent it to us. And so it's mainly in Matthew's gospel that you get this this vengeful outcome. Luke's tone is a lot softer and I don't want to say compliant because it isn't compliant, but it's a lot softer on what's expected maybe, or what goes on. Yeah. I guess it's a bit sort of like some of the things we do at churches. You know, we openly invite people to come in or to do or to be part of, and then I don't particularly anymore. I've gone past the stage of getting worried how many come or how many don't come, because if God wants them to be there, then he'll draw them in anyway. But I know that lots of people in our churches get quite upset when people don't come, or they don't get people coming in the number that they'd hoped for. And I've seen that at a couple of our harvest suppers, where the numbers generally over the last 10, 12 years have really declined, and they're only half what they used to be. And I don't think it's not that people don't want to go to the harvest supper.
No.
There's so many other things going on, and it just isn't something that people are able to keep up with.
But I think that the man who didn't have the wedding robe on, and I think that point you made, Chris, is really helpful. But it's a reminder that it isn't just the people that don't come to church. It's all of us, isn't it? Because it's about being present to it. It's not just about turning up. It's about accepting the invitation, and accepting the invitation means, what that means in your life, and how we are, following Christ. And so that's why this is very harsh. But it's really, I think, trying to make a point about all of us. And it's like last week, it was really focused on the Pharisees, and perhaps this also is, and when I say the Pharisees, I mean churchgoers, not just people that don't come to church, because it's not. I think parables are usually more harsh on the insiders than the outsiders, those that feel outside. So, but it is a tough one. It is tough.
I mean, I think the thing about the poor man with no robe is that he was just picked up off the street, and he had no idea he was going to a wedding banquet anyway. And then he's suddenly picked on because he hasn't got the robe when he wasn't expecting. He probably thought he was going down the road to get a packet of ham or something. No, a packet of baked beans in a baked bean.
Glad you changed your mind there, David.
I changed my mind there, because did you notice? Subtly done. You noticed. He was going to get a tin of baked beans from the local bar shop down the road, and suddenly he's at a wedding banquet, and he didn't carry his wedding robe under his arm just in case, did he?
Chris told us that they would have been giving them out at the door, and
could have been. I have no idea. I've never been to a wedding where I've been given a wedding robe as I've arrived at the door.
Well, I don't know. My son works in London, and one of his colleagues, I think he's from Nigeria, and he invited everybody at work to his son's wedding, and he actually brought in the wedding robes, and they all had to wear. And Luke sent me a picture of him wearing these wedding robes. He looked, it was quite glittery and green. It was a sight to behold. But so that is a culture for some people. There is a really set dress set, and maybe I like that idea that Chris told us. I think that's going to maybe nick that.
I mean, to me, what do we focus on in this parable? There's three sets of people here in this parable, isn't there? You start off with the ones that were originally invited, who come up with excuses and don't go. So we could almost equate those to those who regularly go to church but still really ignore God's invitation into his kingdom. Then you get those who were the secondary round of invites, the scruffy ones off the street, who come and take part and enjoy the banquet, and they are part of God's banquet. And then we almost focus too much, I think, on that third person who's invited, sort of turns up, but doesn't really want to join in. And that's the one where the harsh words are said. There's always a challenge there, actually. Which one of us are we spiritually?
Yeah.
Spiritually, are we the ones who are, yeah, it's great, we're invited to the banquet, but, oh, I've got a football match on today. Oh, I got this today. Or I've got to take my son to this. Oh, I've got to do this. Absolute, we all know we can all become full of excuses for anything and everything.
Yeah.
Or are we the ones who, oh, I wasn't expecting this invite. All of a sudden, oh, what am I going to do? Yeah, this will be fun. I'm going to go and join in. Or, oh, great. Yeah, I'm going to go and join in this banquet. Oh, but there's ham on the table. I'm not going to eat ham. Oh, there's this on the table. Oh, I don't do that. Oh, I don't drink alcohol. Oh, I don't like this band. I don't like this music. I'm going to stand in the corner and sulk. And you don't really take part or engage when everything's provided. And therefore, your behaviour means, actually, you know what? I've been invited and I've sort of coming, but I don't really want to take part. And maybe that's the challenge for us, is which are we? And it applies to the three of us too.
Yeah, it does, definitely. But you see, we've gone full wholeheartedly in at the beach, whereas David has just stayed at home.
I was a little bit concerned at one point during this recording, because I thought Chris's toupee had slipped and realised it's the palm branch waving it back to the back of his head.
So if I go that side a little bit, does that help?
I suddenly realised you've got to. It's not a hairpiece, but a palm leaf. There we are. Well, dear viewer, who are you? Which one of you are you in the story? There is actually a fourth person, of course, because there's the sort of the party's been thrown for, isn't there? Yeah. Never mind the king and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Which one are you? And you know, as Chris quite rightly said, it does apply to all of us. And it's an interesting, another interesting parable. So I shall bear in mind all that you shared with me as I speak on Sunday, because I shall only use that reading once. My other two services will be Harvest Festival. So, but there we are. That's good. So thank you very much, dear viewer. Do let us know whether you prefer the ethereal background of the rectory that I'm sat in, or whether you prefer another background. What else can you press, Chris? Can you press anything while we're talking for the viewer to see? Yeah. You were on the bridge somewhere earlier, weren't you? Was that in America?
Well, I've got two. Yeah, I mean, I could go to. I mean, the nature of modern day travel is I can instantly go from a beach in the Bahamas to San Francisco.
Anywhere else? Can you put in a picture?
I could do it if I was going outer space.
Yeah.
Outer space, yeah. Outer space, yeah.
Showed us
and we can even change our persona.
Well, yes, you can, Debs.
Go for it.
Show us yourself. Oh, look at that.
Lights.
Debs, I'm being very careful because I did make a slip up and want to say the different persona earlier.
I look so sweet, don't I?
What else can you get in those kind of personas, Debs? Is there anything else? Like
I'll see what I can do.
A sweet little chipmunk, maybe. A sweet little chipmunk. Oh, a foxy lady. What on earth is that, Chris?
You look
like you had a bad night there, Deb.
Oh, that's great, Chris. That is really.
Oh, look at this.
That's a happy one, isn't it?
With the northern lights behind you, Chris. With the northern
really
lights.
Nice.
Yeah. If the bishop were taking part, what would you put him as, Chris? He's not going to watch it. You're okay.
Can I decline to comment on that one?
Yeah, he's not going to watch it, so you're okay. Don't worry. Okay.
I don't know. I had Bishop Karen asking me all about Rev Chat at Diocese and Synod.
I know. Bishop Karen mentioned it to me as well.
What did she say?
She said we talk for too long. which is probably true.
Yeah, it is. It is. Compared to the two bishops, we do. But that's what the viewer loves.
Well, yeah.
But they tell me.
Do they?
When I bump into them,
the three of them.
No, there's a lot more. A lot more. The ones who bump into me in town. There are those who don't like it, but they've never liked it, so it doesn't matter. There we are.
Yeah. Well, it's great seeing you. I wonder where we'll end up next week, Chris, you and me.
Could be anywhere. Could be anywhere.
We can have our own picture as a background.
Yeah, we can. We could have West Bay. I could be at West Bay and you could be at Colmer Hill. And we could put David in the town square of Beaminster.
Oh. We'll have a dear viewer. I think your rectors are learning the ins and outs of modern technology quite quickly.
Well, two of them are.
I don't have the technology to do it. I'm afraid it's the problem. I've got an older version of this package. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And my machine won't uphold the updated version. I might try over the week to see if I can download an updated version again by completely removing this version.
I can't wait till next week, David. I really can't wait.
But that could be very dangerous, removing something.
It could be.
Yeah, there we are. Right, well, good to see you. I shall see you all next week. You're off to take a service. Are you off to
I'm off to take a service, yeah.
Are you off to take to school or something, Chris?
No, I've got a day of paperwork after a hectic week so far.
Yep.
So there we go.
Lovely.
Okay, good to meet you all.
Yeah, take care. See you next time.